And by the way, if you haven't claimed the coupon code yet, this is the coupon code. It gives you 1218 energy, 10 molars, 1,000,000 gold, but best of all, it gives you a free bottle of knowledge. Huge new update showcase for Epic 7 just dropped. I think it's as big as the 7th anniversary showcase, honestly. It's a very big update, 48-minute long video. And I'm just here to summarize all the main points, main updates, improvements that are happening, so you don't have to watch the whole thing yourself. So the first big thing they're doing is trying to reduce the amount of time you have to play the game every single week by changing the current cycle of 2-week Automaton and 2-week Call of Trials, for example, into 3 weeks. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they're also limiting the amount of content. So it seems like in the screenshots they're showing, you only have 3 pieces of content in the 3-week cycle, so you don't have to play every single piece of content. So it saves a lot of time overall. And to avoid getting people complaining about, oh, I'm not going to get all the rewards, then they're adding a pass system in which you will get all the rewards you would have missed out, like you would have normally gone right now anyway, but overall you have to play way less to get the same amount of rewards as before, basically. Next thing they talk about is increasing the frequency of episode updates and the updates being more relevant to the main story, so the new heroes won't just keep appearing in isolated worlds like the 6 world episodes, so they'll all be building onto the main story. So yeah, everything will be more connected and updated more frequently. Then they show us a promotional video of the new episode, which is going to be like a separate story like the 6th world, but the cinematics are pretty nice and they show some pretty cool things, so I guess you should check it out if you're interested. It's very cool. Then they're just showing off like a UI improvement for episodes. So yeah, it's nothing that big, but it's just easier to navigate through the episodes since there's going to be so many from now on. And here they're talking about improving the tag system in the story episodes, but honestly this is pretty nothing burger because nobody really uses this unless you're like extremely brand new player and like you're borrowing like a really like endgame players like carry to clear the episodes for you. Honestly, this is really irrelevant and I don't really see this as a big change, but if you're brand new to the game, I guess it is a bit of help. And here they start talking about revamping some of the features of the PvE game modes we currently have, like Hall of Trials, Advent, Constellations, Otherworld Breach, for example. So firstly, for Hall of Trials, they're basically making it more auto-friendly, so manual will still give you higher scores if you optimize playing manually, but they're saying they're going to add some features to make auto Hall of Trials much easier to complete. So that's really nice because I just hate Hall of Trials, like I just want to avoid this content, but you have to do it. Next is an Automaton Tower update. I think they basically just said that they're removing all the bad augments that nobody uses and they're just going to add new ones. Honestly, it's nice to have, but it's not that big of an update, honestly. And then we have Advent, like it's meant to be like very difficult endgame content, especially on the highest difficulty for modification gems. Basically, they're introducing a new rarity of mod gems for the new sets, and it's going to be an epic rarity gem. It's basically works the same as all the other mod gems, except you always get the highest possible stat roll, and it can be used on any set, so it's not set specific. But it does have the main stat, so you still have to get some RNG on the stat itself, but for the set, it can be used on any set, and rarity is always going to roll max, which is pretty nice in my opinion, because I hate having to roll like use my chests for like 6, 7. Okay, that was a few accident by the way. Okay, 5 or 6 different mod gems just to get the max roll of a stat. It's kind of annoying sometimes, honestly. Yeah, so it's a nice change, I guess. And then they're introducing a season 2 of Trial of Constellations. They said the boss themselves aren't changing, so the bosses themselves are going to have the same mechanics probably. But they did say that the bonuses from the constellations themselves are going to change. And they also mentioned Light and Dark were you couldn't order them, which I agree with. Like, especially Dark, it takes so long even to manual. You just have to wait until they take turns, and then like it's just turn gated so hard. So they're saying they're going to add some constellations which makes auto possible, which is a nice change because this content is just one and done per month, even though it's like just one and done. Like it's still annoying having to manual everything every month. So yeah, this could be a nice change, especially for Light and Dark. Also, the shop items are going to rotate, which is nice because I'm sick of having my crit damage ring, attack percent ring brick, and roll HP percent. So hope they add some like nice new accessories in the shop. And the Otherworld Breach update will introduce 3 new sets, and I believe they said the Riposte and the Reversal set will be moved into Rift. I don't think they said they were going to make a new hunt for it, so it's just going to be moved into Rift, but the sets became niche as hell anyway. Like, Riposte was really the only one being used, and Riposte is kind of dead, especially with like all the target buff and like all the anti-evasion buffs they did, and all the anti-evasion units like the new Limited Cigarette and Saria and Architect Leica. Like, I think Riposte is like just kind of dead now because of that. But we do have 3 new sets, and they all don't really look like, nothing looks like broken off the bat. For Acceleration set and Pursuit set, it's really going to depend on like the numbers, on how much speed you get, how much additional damage dealt you get. And Increased Health, I'm going to assume it's like 20% or 30%, like the 2-piece HP set, or a little bit more than the 2-piece HP set, but you get the additional bonus of resetting skill cooldown, so it's only going to be useful on like a very, very select niche amount of units. The new limited unit Hecate is going to be really good with this because her S3 and her passive just completely counters Lady of the Scales, who is a nuisance. Like, I just hate opening Guild Wars, right, and you just see like every defense has Lady of the Scales in it, so that's going to help a lot. But other than her, I don't really like see anybody else who could like really take advantage of this. Like LHC, like she gets her cooldown reset like really easily, so she doesn't really need it. She's like the only other unit that comes off at the top of my mind. So anyway, if you think of anything else, let me know. And here's a range equipment helper. So they said that it's gonna be for plus 15 gear, and it's gonna recommend you which plus 15 gears to get rid of. And yeah, since it's like still just completely like algorithm based, you still want to like double check to make sure you actually want to delete the piece yourself. So yeah, I think it's only really going to be useful for like newer players who don't know like what's good or what's not. And then we have a hero equipment recommendation update. So it's gonna check like who has what equipped across the whole player base, and it's gonna recommend you gear based on that. So again, it's only really, really useful for newer players or people like if you're trying to build like a really, really niche build on this unit to counter a certain unit or playstyle. It's not going to be helpful at all. It's just going to basically like give you what most of the player base is using and give you that as a recommendation. So obviously if you have like an opener like ML Luna, it's going to be like, or Renark, it's going to recommend you speed gear with high speed stats, obviously. So just stuff like that, right? So overall, like if you're a veteran player already, you already know what's good on what unit, or if you're like trying to build a really niche build, like it's just not going to do much for you unless you're brand new, basically. And the final equipment update is the equipment management improvement. Honestly, I think this one is a big nothing burger because the only thing of value they did was just increase the number of nodes on the sliders from 5 to 6. By the way, if you didn't know what this was, it's basically like what kind of build, you just put in the kind of build you want on the unit and you slide like how much speed you want, how much crit damage you want, and automatically like trying to equip like whatever parameters you set it as. But they basically just added 1 extra node on the slider and that's about it. Next we get into the new characters. So there's a new limited green unit, Hecate. We already know her kit. She's just basically anti-revive and anti-immortality, and anti damage sharing, and she ignores defense, like 85% defense on every hit, but she can't crit. So it's basically like an anti-lots, right? And also the anti-revive and anti-immortality is only for the enemy. So this is like the first time we've had like such a one-sided floodgate. So she's gonna be like a must pull because Lady of the Scales is like basically in every single defense. So yeah, and this is the Sigurd Scythe girl, by the way, Hecate. Let's see if we can get her art. There we go, Sigurd Scythe girl. Very nice looking unit. Her showcase is already up on the official E7 channel, so if you want to check it out, her full kit is available. And the next new character is MLDN for the new episode. So she's going to be a dark unit, I believe, based on her design and her name. I think she's like Dark Shepherd of the Dark DN. Yeah, Shepherd of Dark DN. Yeah. her kit has not been released, but here is what she looks like, and she has her animations. There's probably her skill animations. Yeah. So, interesting unit. Wasn't expecting MLDN this soon. They usually do it for the E7WC, but I guess we didn't get like a limited ML unit this E7WC like ML Landy and ML Luna. So yeah, I guess this is our limited new ML unit this year. And we're also getting another new artifact unit. So there's Aki from the Strat Gauntlet 4-star warrior artifact. So it's going to be a warrior. I'm assuming it's going to be fire, like based on what he looks like, right? We haven't seen like anything, his kit, we just see the design and images of him. So we don't know if it's going to be limited or a non-limited unit. Hecate is limited, the Sigurd Scythegirl is limited. We don't know about Aki, like Setsuka was also an artifact. But I guess, okay, Setsuka was from a 4-star artifact, right? And she's not limited. So I'm going to assume like 70% chance is going to be non-limited because it's also from a 4-star artifact. Sigurd Scythegirl Hecate is limited from a 5-star artifact. Wind Rider Renak is 5-star artifact. Yeah. I don't know. But there's still always a chance it becomes limited. You never know with Smilegate, right? And we have one more new unit revealed, which is ML Izaria, which I guess is going to be a light Izaria. And I don't know if they meant for this to be an artifact unit. They do mention Elbrus Ritual Sword, but the image does not really look like her, like, compare the two. I mean, they are both elf girls, but I don't know. It just doesn't look like Izaria to me. But maybe they do intend for it to be an artifact unit, so if that's the case, then she's gonna be a knight. So a light knight, and that's the first time we have an ML artifact unit if that's the case. But we'll have to see if she's actually a knight and if she's actually good with Elbrus. And the next update is an Covenant summoning update, which nobody ever does unless we get like the free Covenant event, right? Or the one we do per day. So basically, since there's so many heroes and artifacts in the game now, like it's hard to fill out. You have to like get really lucky and to get the ones that you're missing. So basically they're adding a wish list, so you can add the ones that you want dupes of or the ones that you were missing and you really want, for example. Yeah, it's going to make it easier. And they're also adding a new currency that can only be used in Covenant summons, but they said they're going to be giving out a lot of this currency. So it'll make people actually summon the Covenant banner, basically, to fill out their missing heroes and artifacts, to help them out. Because nobody, realistically right now, you can only use your bookmarks. People aren't gonna use their bookmarks on Covenant summons. They're gonna be saving it for the next new unit, right? Or limited unit. So yeah, this is gonna help out a lot, and for a lot of people trying to fill out whatever they want, whatever artifact they want, whatever heroes they want, and what they're missing. And finally, the thing everyone's been asking for and saying, we're not gonna get a headhunt this year. Well, here it is. So the reason why they said they delayed it this year is because they wanted to visually improve it, which I guess they did. So it looks like an actual event now instead of like before it's just a web event where like it looked really scuffed. But I guess it's like an actual full event now, and you can get other stuff from the shop as well. And once again, there's a new coupon code for this update showcase. Gives you all these rewards. The free bottle over here is very, very nice. Like this is worth like $50. Like they usually sell it for $50 to $100 in the pack. So this is very, very nice. So yeah, E7 Hecate 1218 gift _gift.